Hello, beautiful people. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. If you're back, welcome back. I appreciate you coming in and checking in on me. I hope everybody is having a wonderful, wonderful day. So this is, I think it's my third whip and chat. I'll have to look. Could be my fourth, I don't know. But I can tell you, this is the second time I'm trying to record this whip and chat, whatever number it is. I do this all the time. This is, I think, the second time that I thought I pressed record, but didn't press record. And I literally sat here and talked to myself for an hour without recording it. And yeah, so I'm back again. And I'm going to try it again. I'm glad that I'm kind of glad it didn't record because I was extremely tired. And I was kind of talking like this. I was so tired. And so I think that it's kind of good that it didn't record. But I don't have anything fancy here. I'm just using a pen that I got from Amazon. On it, I have a 4-placer that I got from Diamond Art Club. It's a skinny one. I was using a 6-placer, and I really like the 6-placer, but I used it to the point where it had all the grooves in it, and I tried shaving it down, and it just didn't, I don't know, it just wasn't working the same anymore, so I tossed it. I do have a box of multi-placers that I got from Amazon, and I think there's a 7-placer in there, and I don't know, I just didn't like it as much. And then these tweezers are my daughter's tweezers. When she realizes they're gone, they'll be gone. No, she's been letting me use them. And then I have the Diamond Art Club pointy tweezers. I do not use these to place, even though I'm doing a square. So I'm working on my Scorpio today. I did an unboxing for that, the Scorpio by Diamond Art Club, by painting done by Josephine Wall, licensed for Josephine Wall. I always use a big tray. I have a small tray with a spout, and the way I do it is I dump the drills in here and shake it, and then when I'm done, I use this little doohickey to get them all to the bottom, put them in there, and then I put them back in the tray, in their container. It's kind of a long process, but it works for me. That's how I do it. I use this sometimes if I only have like a few drills that I have to place. I'll use this tray, especially if they're random drills and none of them are, I'll be able to use the multi-placer with. So I do use a light pad. I generally use the light pad all the time. I like it. Even when there's light colors, I use the light pad. It just, for me, it just works. I don't mind having it. And, but it is kind of difficult seeing all the spaces in between the square drills. It's annoying, but you know, once you turn the light pad off, you don't see them anymore. So, so how's everybody doing? I hope everybody is doing well. Yesterday, there was another release from Diamond Art Club. I didn't snag anything in the last couple weeks. I've been really good. I actually have not bought a painting in a couple weeks, so I'm pretty proud of myself. I've only been doing this for, I don't know, what, a month, maybe a month and a half, and I have enough paintings in that short period of time where I feel like I needed to just chill out. I still have 2 from Dreamer Designs I'm waiting for, and 1 from Star Ore from Amazon. And yesterday, 2 from the 2 that I talked about before from Star Ore came. So I don't know how long that took, a few weeks, a couple weeks, but they came yesterday. And earlier in the week, I got my Lola Rose. That shipment came too. So I still have 2 out in the wind. There's still the Craftably that I really, really want. I've been keeping my eye on. And there are a couple Diamond Art Clubs. I really wanted the Aquarius. I'm doing the Scorpio now. And I have the Leo, which is my daughter. My son's the Aquarius, and I just wanted it, but I emailed them, and that one is done, so I'm not going to be able to do that one. But I have a lot of them. My husband's Virgo, so that one's on my list. I keep going back and forth of whether or not, I think it's beautiful, so I would like to do it, but I go back and forth of whether or not I'm going to get it. But I'm really enjoying the squares. I worked on it one day, and I did, I think, up to here, and then I did this little section here today. And so I worked on it one day. I kitted it up, worked on it that day, and then I put it aside to do my week 2 progress on my Chuck Pinson. And I posted that on Instagram and on the Facebook group page of how far I've gotten on the Chuck Pinson so far. And so I felt like I got far enough that I could pull this back out and work on this for a couple days, and then I'll pull that one back out and do my week 3 progress. So I got enough done on week 1 where now I can ration it out the last few weeks and be able to split my time up between that and this canvas, which is fun. And then I finished the Fairy Tale Dreams. I did the post review for that, and I love that one. So beautiful. But I don't know how everybody picks their paintings. I feel like I have no control over it. I already know the next 2 that I plan on doing, and it just comes to me, and then I'm stuck with that. Like, I have no control over it. I really wanted to do the J-Wall along, but once I had in my head that the Chuck Pinson was the one I was doing, that was it. So then the Scorpio was on the back burner, and I couldn't wait to get into it. But I had in my head that I was doing the Chuck Pinson next, and it was like the painting picked me, not me picking the painting. I don't know, how do you pick your next project? Do you look at your stash and whatever's calling your name at the time, or do you go in with an idea of what you're gonna do? But there are a couple more I want from Diamond Art Club. And then there's at least one more that I want from Craftably. And then I would like to get a Mary's Diamonds and try hers. I got Star Ore, and I want a painting from, I would like to get one from Distracted by Diamonds and Dye Moon Shop. And I definitely want to try a Heaven and Earth Designs. And I want to do a diamond painting Deutschland, a Josephine wall. I know which one I want. And I'm the type of person that I never want anything for like birthday or Mother's Day. I always tell my kids, save your money, don't spend your money on me. I can get whatever I want. Tell my husband, oh, I don't want anything. But this year, I want diamond paintings. Because then I get a painting without like me actually ordering it and feeling crazy. So I'm going to ask for paintings. I mean, I don't want them each to get me one. They're too expensive. But if like they could all go in together, that would be fun. And so I think I want the diamond painting Deutschland for Mother's Day, if that's possible. And eventually, I've been researching how to convert a cross stitch. So I'd like to do it all. I'd like to try it all. Give it all a shot. My mom came over and I was showing her this, and I said to her, so what do you think? And she's like, I think you're always doing something. And that's so true. I am. I'm always doing something. I put my trash in this separate tray. And then after every session, I just dump it in the can. So I'm always doing some kind of, I guess I'm always doing some kind of craft. Or I'm on a reading binge. When I was growing up, one of the neighborhood mothers of my childhood friends, she was big time into cross stitch. She did it every day. Every day she sat on her couch and she did cross stitch. And she was like, with cross stitch, the way we are with paintings, she had hundreds of them behind her sofa. And she would get those catalogs in the mail back in the day when we actually had catalogs, and she would get tons of cross-stitch catalogs, and she would give us the old ones that she went through already. And I remember as a child, like, circling all the cross stitches I wanted. She actually taught all the neighborhood kids how to cross stitch. She gave us a simple pattern, how to do counted cross stitch. She gave us a simple pattern and then gave us all the floss. She had like tons of extra floss, obviously. And she made little kits for all of us. And we would sit on the couch, and if we ever ran into a problem or made a mistake, she would come over and help us. And that's how I learned how to cross stitch. So I did that, and she taught me young. I want to say like 5 or 6 is when I learned. And so I did that my whole life. Not a whole lot of them, because I would do some and then put it away and then pull it back out and do some more and put it away. So I did that. I learned that young, which makes sense why I've liked this so much. And then I also did, my grandmother taught me how to make a chain in crochet. And then she taught me the single stitch, the double stitch, like the basic stitches. And she taught me how to make a granny square, of course. I think that's the classic. And then when I got a little older, someone gave me a book that showed me how to read patterns. And so I learned how to read a pattern for crochet. And then I started making all kinds of blankets and booties and hats. So I have a ton of yarn. And with the same book, I taught myself how to knit, although I never actually finished a project. I started a lot of scarves. And then, so I like doing yarn work. My daughter crochets too. But she actually learned on her own. I tried to teach her, but when she was little, but she didn't have any patience. Because I explained to her, you know, you got to just practice. It's going to take some time. It's not going to look perfect at first. So just do it, undo it, do it again. I remember sitting in my room for hours doing the chain over and over and over again with the same piece of yarn. And she wanted it to look perfect when the first time she tried it. But then, you know, when she was older, she watched a YouTube and she taught herself. And she actually comes up with her own patterns. She made purses, and she's really good. So between the two of us, we have enough yarn to open up our own store. It's ridiculous. But anyway, so yeah, when I showed this to my mom, she's like, "You're always doing something." And I do. I like to dabble in different crafts, but I think I'm going to be stuck on this one for a very long time. I just have that feeling because I just enjoy it so much. And I'm sure I'll have an itch to crochet something. I tend to, but the funny thing is with crochet is I tend to start a lot of projects and then I don't finish them. I have finished a lot of projects in crochet. I've finished, you know, a lot of blankets. I made a blanket for both my kids. They use them to this day. They use the blankets. I made them. And I made a couple other just house blankets, Afghans or whatever. And then I made them each a doll when they were little that they both still have. And I made my nephew a blanket. I made him a hat. So I've made a lot. I've finished a lot of projects, but I've also started a lot of projects that I did not finish. So, but not the case with diamond painting. I finish all my paintings that I start. And same thing with cross stitch. I have started projects that I didn't finish. And then I go on book binges where I want to read all the time. Lately, though, I only read during cardio. So I know I mentioned that I watched Joe Rogan, and I saw Dr. Phil on Joe Rogan. I know a lot of people don't like Dr. Phil. I like Dr. Phil. I think a lot of times he makes a lot of sense. But he has a podcast they were talking about that I have not checked out, but he interviews people, and one of the things is they were talking about like people that have the champion spirit. I mean, I'm not quoting, but I remember the gist of the conversation. It's like what drives these people. And it's so, and when I was listening to this interview, I was surprised because I'm really into that too. And that's the last few books that I've read have been about different athletes and stuff, because I'm always interested in like what made them so competitive and, you know, so driven. Like what gives you that champion drive, and the Michael Jordans and the Tiger Woods and the David Goggins. Now he, you know, his book was one of the first ones that I read. It was called, it's called Can't Hurt Me. And that was a great book. And his whole philosophy is, I want to be the uncommon among the uncommon. So he doesn't want to just be, you know, super competitive and driven and ambitious and dedicated and all that, but he wants to be the best of the best that do that. And I thought that was so fascinating. And honestly, this whole idea, or I wouldn't even call it research, but me reading about these people started because I read a biography or an autobiography by Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I don't know if you've ever heard any of his motivational speeches, or if you look on like Spotify and you put in like gym motivation, sometimes it's like him speaking about, you know, seizing your day and doing the most with your time and etc., etc. And so in his book, he talks about how when he was in high school, he knew he was going to be special. He knew he was going to be successful. He just didn't know in what. And I thought that was so amazing that a teenager had that kind of confidence and faith in them. And so he felt like, all right, I know that this is going to be my fate, and this is what I want, and this is what I'm going to work for, but what is it going to be in? And so he started to try to figure that out. And he talks about how he tried different sports, and you know, he tried, I guess, I can't remember exactly, but let's just say wrestling and then soccer. And he's like, no, it's not that. No, it's not that. And then he went to track. He's like, let me try track. And his track coach told him to start lifting weights. Not because the track coach was like, oh, this is what you're going to be good at, but because he wanted him to get stronger to be better at track. But then once he started lifting weights, he was like, oh, nope, this is it. And then he was riding his bike like miles, or I don't know how many miles a day to get to the gym. And he found his niche, so to speak. And I just thought that was, like, could you imagine if all of our children thought that way about themselves? And, you know, and I'm sure, you know, when he was in the gym, I mean, I'm just guessing, you know, he's working really hard because he has this belief in himself and this vision, and he's working towards it. And as he's gaining muscle, I'm sure he's getting positive feedback from his peers and the people in the gym, like, oh, you grow muscle fast, look how big you are, you're only how old? And that just feeds his self-esteem, and, you know, as I'm sure. But, like, my thought was, what if we're all like a Michael Jordan or an Arnold Schwarzenegger, but we just, not everyone is lucky enough to figure out in what, you know? Tiger Woods was meant to play golf. Arnold Schwarzenegger was meant to be a bodybuilder. Michael Jordan was meant to play basketball. And maybe I'm meant to do diamond painting. Maybe this is my road to glory. But does that make sense? I always wondered that. So I guess that's why I read about these people. They are on a whole nother level, like their desires. I read, so after the David Goggins, I read a book called, well, first I read a book by another Navy SEAL called Embrace the Suck. And that was appropriate during cardio. And he gives you, like, actual, it's like a guide to how to be more successful and embrace the suck in life and get beyond that. And that was a good book. And then I read a book. I don't know if anyone knows anything about CrossFit. I did do CrossFit, but I was, you know, not an athletic superstar in it. I could do the basic movements and everything. I just took class and it was fun and made me stronger. But in CrossFit, if you go to the CrossFit Games and you win the title of strongest or fittest male or female in the world. And for years, the same guy was winning, Matt Frazier. And the same girl has been winning for the past 5 or so years. She won again this year. Her name is Clare Toomey. So Matt Frazier is from America, and Clare Toomey is Australian. And she wrote a book after she won her first games called How I Became the Fittest Woman on Earth. And that was such a great book. I mean, a lot of it was, you know, the people she had around her, but it was certainly a drive that she had inside of her since a child. Like, she would set her alarm and get up before school every day to go to the track or to go to the pool. I mean, kids just don't do that on their own. No one told her to do that. That was something that she did because she wanted to be better. And, you know, I just found that so fascinating. It's coming along, guys. So that's how I've been multi-placing. So I learned how to multi-place. I'm sorry, I'm just switching topics, but I don't know. Has anybody ever thought that way? Wondering if, you know, if we're lucky to figure out what our craft is, we become a Michael Jordan. Of course, it's not just, obviously, Michael Jordan had, you know, a talent and an athletic ability that is beyond most people, but he wasn't who he was just because of that. You know, he had this drive and this champion mindset and he worked for it. You know, he you know, that old saying, hard work will always outbeat talent. You can't just rely on talent to be good, you know. So it was a perfect match. I'm sure there's people that do find their niche, but then they don't want to put in as much work as is needed. So it is definitely a perfect storm, so to speak, a perfect combination of both, right? Sorry, I had food in the oven. I had to take it out before it burned. All right. So I have my coffee in my Luffy mug. Does anybody watch anime? This is One Piece. There's like 2,000 episodes or something like that. I'm on like 72. So, but my son got me into it. And the only reason why I'm not further along is because I watched the Japanese version and you have to read the subtitles because I can't speak Japanese. Yeah, so I have to, I can't, you can't be doing anything else. You actually have to like 100% give your attention to the TV. And I don't ever do that. Ever. So, certainly not when I'm diamond painting. So, yeah, it's very hard to get further along in that. Because I never just sit and watch TV. I'm always doing something with the TV going on in the background. So, I don't know if I'll ever finish it. But it was so crazy cold here yesterday. It was 27 degrees when we woke up today. But it's so crazy how last week I got my car washed and it was sunny and I had a tank top on. And then yesterday it was like an ice storm. I mean, so bitter. It was painful getting out of your car. So I don't know what this weather is doing, but I am over the cold. I'm so over it. And I have to go to work tonight. I picked up overtime again, 4 hours. So breaking out that winter coat, because that walk from the parking lot to the hospital is not fun in the freezing cold at all. I always save the ABs for last to do. Does anybody else do that? I always save them for last. I like to leave that as like my reward for finishing this section. Even if it would be helpful because it's a big space and I could see what's left, I still save it for last because I just enjoy doing them so much and just making the picture pop more. But they are hard to place or pick up anyway. They're hard to pick up. And I did hear someone say that the plastic tipped pens are good for that, for the ABs. But I don't have any plastic tip. I tried to see if I could order a pack of them. I have to look more. I didn't find any. But I'm sure that there's some. Oh, so I also wanted to tell you that I did watch a video on multiplacing before I started to try. It's my pug's hair. And the video was by Diamonds and Washi. I believe her name is Katie. And it was really good, very helpful. And I at least started with her techniques. I still do some of the techniques, but it definitely helped me get comfortable with multiplacing. And then I recommend starting on, I felt like it was much easier to start on a round and just get comfortable with placing them and picking them up and placing them. And then when you're comfortable with that, it's much easier to do the squares. At least that's how I felt about it. So I got pretty comfortable doing the multi-placing on my Chuck Pinson, and then I finished the Fairy Tale Dreams multi-placing. And so this painting is the first square that I feel comfortable doing the multi-placing with. So, does anybody else do any other crafts? I think the reason why I like the diamond painting is because it's much faster than counted cross stitch for sure. And you get a huge area done as opposed to a small area on counted cross stitch. And so you get that more instant gratification type thing, I guess. Everyone keeps asking me too, well, what are you going to do with all these paintings? And I always say, well, if I did actual paintings, if I painted, right? If that was my hobby, I wouldn't stop painting because I have X amount of paintings, and what am I going to do with them all? I'm going to keep painting, even if it just means they're going to lean up against each other and never see the wall, or, you know, or if I was a puzzle maker, you know, do you ever ask people who like to do puzzles, like, well, what's the point? You just take it apart. It's a hobby. It's like I enjoy the process. And after I say that, they're always like, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I'd like to think that every painting I do is going to see a wall and hang up somewhere. But, I mean, that's just not realistic. At least not for the amount of paintings that I'd like to do. So I plan on getting an art portfolio to store them in. And then, I don't know, you know, maybe someone will have a kid that I know and they'll ask me, hey, can I have that painting? And I would give it away. My brother's wife is having a second child. And if it's a girl, they're going to name her Isabel and call her Belle. Which is so funny because that's what I wanted to name my daughter. That was my first pick for my daughter's name because I wanted to call her Belle and spell it B-E-L-L-E. So, sorry about all this crunching. Oh, spilling drills everywhere. I'm making a mess. So I do plan on trying to find a licensed Beauty and the Beast painting if it's a girl. If it's a boy, they're going to name him Zach. And I'll just find a cute kids one for Zach if it's a boy. I forgot what symbol I was working on for a second. I don't know how I can be working on a symbol for so long and then just all of a sudden forget what I'm looking for here. But I do all the time. That's why I leave the container right there. And I have been known to accidentally start drilling the wrong symbol. I think one day I'm going to do a whip and chat with my husband while he's whipping, and we'll just do a little chat together. He is doing so well on his painting. I mean, he's really far along. And he actually did a little, there's a hole in this one. He actually did a little of his own, what do we call it? Customizing of his painting. So I plan on doing a post review of it, and I'll point it out. I've never even done that. He does everything in diamond painting he does before me. So he used ABs before me. He actually got, because he ordered 2 kits from Diamond Art Club and I only opened one of them for you guys, he got a new toolkit in the other one. I saw it sticking out of it because as soon as he got them, he opened both boxes. And I don't even take the cellophane off the box until I'm ready to use it. And he opened both boxes, and I could see the new toolkit. I'm like, you got a new toolkit. And he says to me, are you even a diamond painter if you don't have a new toolkit? Burn, is what I say. So he did that, and then he went and customized his painting already. He made a little change and made it his own. And I have not done that yet. But I think I'm going to do that to my Chuck Pinson. So I'm going to show it to you guys as is. And then I'm going to do my customization. And then at the end of the video, show you how it looks with the way I did it. And you can compare. And tell me what you like better. I don't even know what it's going to look like. So I'll know when I show you. And we can decide if it looked better the way it was, or if it looks better because it's just part of the painting that I don't really care for. And I feel like it'll look better if I change it. But who knows? I am not an artist. So I know that they're hand rendered and they certainly pick colors and everything according to what they think looks best. But we'll see. We'll see if the change I'm thinking about will make a difference. So that'll be in a couple weeks. But also, going back to the champion mindset, I was talking to someone at work about this, and he recommended to me, I think it's on Netflix. I haven't looked yet, and I do plan on watching this. It's called 14 Peaks, and he said it was a phenomenal movie, and it does play into that whole idea of doing, you know, insane or incredible things, amazing things, and having that mindset. So I don't know if anyone's seen that and they enjoyed it, if you want to put in the comments. But I do plan on watching it. And I recommended back to him a documentary called Kissed by God. And it's a movie about one of the best surfers ever, Andy Irons. So I'm not a surfer. I've never surfed. I've never been on a surfboard. It was just a movie that I found, and it kind of played into my whole thing about, you know, what makes some people more driven than others, I guess you could say. And that movie is, you know, along those lines. And it was a great movie. I watched it twice in 1 week, and I try to get my kids to watch it with me. They're like, I don't like documentaries. They weren't having it. So I watched it alone for a second time. It's no longer on Netflix, I don't think. I think you have to rent that one on Amazon. I think it's available on Amazon. But I recommend that movie if you like documentaries and have any interest in what I was talking about. It was a really good movie. Sad movie, too. But I think I'm going to end my chat here. I know I didn't talk very long. At least it didn't feel like it. Maybe I was rambling on for a longer time than I thought. I don't even know if my head's in this, because I'm leaning over a little bit to see my drills being placed. I can't see what my camera's seeing, so I hope my head isn't constantly in and out of the picture. And I'm getting my hands in here, because then that would be the second time I tried this and failed. Not a camera person, in case you were wondering. But I hope you enjoyed watching this. Maybe I made your mind think a little bit. I don't know. And if you did, if you wouldn't mind hitting that like button on the way out, I would really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a wonderful Sunday. And until next time, take care.